Brothers, sisters, Matt, happy to be here again. I hope everything is well with everybody. I hope all is well. I pray that you're doing fine. Today's little topic, vicious cycle. I was going to call it a vicious cycle, but at first my mind was on the vicious cycle. But there's not one cycle of viciousness. There's multiple repetitive cycles of viciousness that people deal with every day in their daily lives. Uh, Gotta say this. Gotta put this out there. The screenshot is representative of the mindset that most people have. See, they tell you it's a dog eat dog world, but then they'll call somebody a snake right behind that. And it's a travesty if you really don't understand the lack of understanding that somebody has when they say those types of things. I'm not going to say it's a snaky snake world, but if you call you can't be a dog, a snake, a rat, and all these other things all at once. Which one of them is the worst one? And that's what we'll contend that they are. So what we're seeing and what we're witnessing, and I could talk about all the stuff that's going on, but it's got nothing to do with me. I've seen a lot of different crazy little things that I could obviously lend my opinion to, uh, lend my thoughts to. That's not within me right now. What's within me right now is just to remind my people that the cycle, that the sequence of actions that leads to another action, right? And a completion of events, right? And here, it's truly vicious. So let me put it to y'all like this. Let me give it to y'all like right now I'm a line cook, but let me give it to y'all in dishwashing terms because I just recently was working a job that I had to get all the way up out of there because these cats is trying to play your boy, and I was like, I'm cool. So when you're in a busy restaurant, an established restaurant, most places have two people who wash dishes. They'll have the person that's typically actually doing the scrubbing and the actual washing of the dishes, and another person that's running the dishes. In a really busy place, you might have three or four. I'm talking about really busy, like the Ritz Carlton or something like that. You might have three or four people, maybe even more, depending on how big the restaurant is. However, one of the things that people fail to realize or don't give enough credence to is the cycle that they put these individuals in. That's so where I was at for barely 2 weeks and I only worked a few days. These individuals thought it would be wise to have one person, trying to do the work of two, potentially three people. And I'm talking about this is me working and I'm in the place and I'm working and I'm like, there should be another person here. But because they don't have the good sense, see, in a restaurant's mind, it's easier to burn you out for $25,000 for a $30,000 hit and burn you out and replace you, or to attempt to burn you out and replace you, than it is for them to actually do the right thing and to pay another $200, $300 for somebody else to accommodate for the workload. Now, all these places have all these reasonings on why they can't do this and why they can't do that. And once again, they create a cycle that's vicious. So as opposed to me finishing the job that night, which I should have been done around 12:30, 1 o'clock, at 1:30, I'm still doing dishes. And I tell myself at 2:30, no matter what, I'm out of here. While this chick before that was telling me, you'll be out of here around 5 o'clock, or I don't want you to get out of here around 5 o'clock. And I have to tell her, don't worry, I'm not going to be here that long. Now, anybody with any good sense would have known that he means that he's not staying here no matter what till no 5 o'clock. Right. Vicious cycle, though, because they didn't accommodate for me. I left them with a whole bunch of work and didn't think twice about it. Not so much work to where somebody would come in there and then try to call some sort of authorities on me saying that I sabotaged the restaurant, but just enough to where somebody got in there and was like, fuck, I got to do all this shit. That's right. But that's okay though. See, that's the vicious cycle. I'm trying to break down how they allowed for their lack of logistical reasoning. You see what I'm saying? Because logistics is the main part of the cycle. Before I go any further, in order to have a cycle start or finish or to continue, there has to be logistics. So when you don't have that accomplished already, then there won't be a cycle. There has to be an ability for the flow and the continuance of whatever these activities are. And the fact of the matter remains that it might have seemed cheaper, but the detriment of morale, the detriment of duress, stress, frustration, anger, all the things that angst, all those things that might not have been there before, abhorrence, all those things that they feel now towards management, they could feel that towards me, but you don't have to see me every day. But they'll feel like that towards the management because all a person has to reconcile in their mind is why didn't they call me in or why didn't they tell me they needed a second person? Right. See, this is why the cycle's vicious because I, I keep saying it. I can't tell you what to think. You can't tell me what to think. We can lend each other thoughts, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to think what I think. You're still going to think what you think. That's how that goes. Everybody has their own mind and their own heart to coordinate themselves with. So I can't make that different. That's what it is. But to speak on the vicious cycle, let me just talk about how. So y'all, we all know about what happened over there in Buffalo, right? We all get that. But do y'all realize every day across the US, and this is why I have a very difficult time relating to the situation because if you've ever met, I know brothers. I don't know them, no, but I've known brothers from Buffalo, New York. Most of them are well-spoken, educated type of people, but some of them are high sedity. And I'm not saying that anybody deserves what they got. I just need y'all to understand how vicious the cycle is. Some of these people put themselves away from other black people purposely, right? So much so to the point that they think that the way that other black people act is a detriment to how people view them. Now, the same black people that you think are a problem, this guy didn't run up on them and do that. Did he go to Harlem? Did he go to the Bronx? You could talk about it's gentrified. It's gentrified. Did that nigga go? Did the white boy go anywhere where there's a bunch of niggas hanging out who could potentially be armed? No. Went to a place where the understanding is these black people are law abiding. Right. Vicious cycle though. See, you can't be so law abiding that it'll cost you your life. I.e., when black people, the fact that black people go to church and don't bring a weapon inside of the church. The pastor, the bishops, the rep, somebody, the ushers, somebody should have a weapon at all times. It should be their job, and it should rotate from one week to the other. Right on? Several people should have weapons. My point being this right here. You had an officer who got killed in the situation. And this is, I've listened to a few different takes on it, and nobody has this take on it. Don't y'all think it's weird that an individual who we don't know how he treated black people his whole life, and we don't know any of these other black people. We don't know them. People just get upset because it happened to their so-called people, but nobody's asking themselves the other kind of questions. Like, okay, how did these people conduct themselves every day? I'm not going to mourn for anybody that's wicked. That's why I don't feel anything to the situations because I don't personally know these people. And my first initial feeling is to feel bad for their families, for their lives. And at the same time, I have to understand that if these people did anything likened to this in their lives and were never caught for it, they paid their due penance in that moment. But that police officer that was in there, though, right? See, this is how I know that individuals like that. have victimized black people, but have never stood up to white folks. See, had that been a brother who walked up in there, right? Not all the way bodied, armored out, but let's just say that was a brother, right? And he could tell it was a brother because I'm pretty sure he knew it was a white dude. He probably would have full all out went extra hard. Because it's a white dude, a part of him in his mind is thinking that he's gonna get in trouble at the end of this somehow. Now they won't tell us how many extra magazines, how many rounds in the last magazine, whatever. They won't tell us how many rounds he exchanged with this individual, but it couldn't have been very many. It couldn't have been. See, it's things like that. It's a vicious cycle where this is the type of guy who we don't know how he treated your people. You don't know how he treated your people, our people, my people, the people. Talking about the ones that I really care about the most. You don't know. And as confused as the little white dude is, guess what? Here's the hardest part for people to get. He's part of the vicious cycle. Right. He's why anyone is angry and upset with him and not angry and upset with elder white society, I don't understand. They want to call him evil and call him the devil. He didn't put those thoughts in his head. He didn't create the ideology that he was following. Right on? No, nobody wants to hold those type of people accountable. And I've been saying this kind of shit for years. So it's not like, oh, I'm following anybody else's whatever. No, this is my own thought process to it all. The vicious cycle starts with the understanding of logistics and somebody's willful betrayal to maintaining a logistical effort. So the fact that this individual can go shoot the place up, take life, be able to surrender without getting his face and his body riddled with bullets, still, all that said, these individuals put themselves in certain places. It doesn't, let me say it like this. Somebody can say that they don't care, but just watch their actions. If they walk across the street and look both ways, they care. If they don't walk in the street when cars are coming, they care. What they don't care about, they should be specific about, but they do care. So when you have people who are, once again, homeboy thought he didn't care about living till his own mortality crept in on him because he realized they have guns to shoot back. Had he went out there and there had been more soft targets, he would have engaged those soft targets. This is a fact. But the idea that his mortality was threatened, see, once again, there is no insanity plea. There is no none of that. None of that. I don't think New York has a death sentence. Uh, I would look into seeing, exactly what kind of potential federal crimes he could be charged with that could lead to the loss of his life. But the vicious cycle says that that's not going to happen. He'll probably just get life in prison. Me, you, and the other black folks that he didn't get to kill are going to have to pay for this motherfucker to lay up for the rest of his life. Vicious cycle. See, this is why you have to understand logistics and how they truly work. If I start from square one right now, scratch, it's the it's the finding the base of an ideology. His ideology was so-called European Anglo ethno state and the so-called advancements made under European Anglo individuals. Um, I push back on his beliefs. I don't really care why he believes. I don't push back on the why. I push back on the what. And I push back on that because all the places that these individuals live to this day, their history says that they invaded them. Right. They're not indigenous to Germany, despite what you think. They're not indigenous to France. or Ireland. Those individuals invaded those places. They'll tell you in their own words, and they'll let you know through their histories. So for him to say that is like a complete dishonest interpretation of history, right? On that European Anglo individuals have propagated, right on, have perpetuated. Yeah, see what I'm saying? And have what's the word I'm looking for? Where you put something up, but they put it on a pedestal, so to speak. Like they're proud of the fact that they went to places and murdered folks in their sleep and took over the land, raped the women, and enslaved the men and the children. Right? They're proud of the fact that they were taken advantage of by advanced groups of people, their women given to those people, and then the children allowed to be raised with them, creating a hybrid group. They're proud of these things, even though they don't outwardly say them. If you read between the lines of what they do tell you, this is what they're saying. But he can't understand that. So the base of the issue of the actual cycle with this individual is totally off. But we'll just go ahead and keep moving. Now we're learning about doctrine. What do they believe because they they believe this thing? So what do we feel like we should enforce, or we feel like we should take part in, have activities with, or in? And if being armed, if being trained militia style or paramilitary style is that such thing, that's what they're going to do. And if the obviously now we're talking about having the money to accrue a firearm, right? Or being able to engage in activities that will lead to the what's the word I'm looking for? The obtaining of a firearm, right? The procurement. Uh, Outside of obviously the obvious things, having to make money, right? Now we're talking about doing the research as to where places where black people live, where the crime rate is low. I bet you if we look at that place in Buffalo, it might be kind of rough, but it's not like the other places where there's black people at. So you do all your research, you put it all together, and you come to find that, okay, these people are the easiest group for me to attack. Right. So not thinking about, I'm about to ruin lives, I'm about to ruin families, I'm about to, no, can't even, is too selfish to think about his own family and their reputation. But this is who they are. His fathers are racist, his mothers are racist, his grandfathers are racist, his grandmothers are racist on both sides. They're all racist motherfuckers. All of them, bigots. And whether they know it or not, all their energy, all of his friends, all everybody he's ever seen, this is what I'm saying. To have been in contact with this individual and to not have encouraged them to see things differently, to test their spirit so that way he could understand, hey, the way you're thinking is totally off. We've done nothing right to get here. And if we were that smart and that intelligent, why didn't we have the internet while we were still over there in Spain and Deutsch? Huh? Right? You know what I'm talking about? Like, why didn't they have it 5, 6, 700 years ago? Where were the iPhones then? The same materials, the same everything existed back then that exists now. I won't get into the fine details of what I believe, but the people who know me the best know what I believe about wars and so-called technological advancements. But that's neither here nor there. The issue is that the cycle is vicious. See, he's hoping, praying, and wishing that some black people would go to his house and kill his people. So therefore, there would be a retaliation, and it would accumulate to something likened to helter skelter. See, this is what they, once again, if their ultimate ideology leads back to a race war, nothing they're saying is special. They were talking about race wars 200, 300 years ago in this land. Right. If the blacks were to get free, if they ever get free. This is why I laugh because dudes Like their whole mindsets are so far gone, they can't even put the basic stuff together. Another major issue that I'm having with the vicious cycle. So we got all these young brothers out here, and I told y'all, man, year of the vigilante is gonna be crazy. You don't know what anyone has done. People can say, oh, they would never do this, and they would never do that, and they would never do this. And unless you're with them every waking moment, you cannot say what they have or have not done. That's how it works. You got a lot of these young brothers out here getting killed, laid out, and I can't help but to think they were involved in activities likened to what happened to them. Nobody walks up to you, grabs you, and shoots you all in your face. Right on? Hopes that you can see it. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody does that unless you did something. Has strong reason to believe that you done something that you ought not do. Nobody walks up to you and shoots you in the back of your head 5 or 6 times. For no apparent reason, that doesn't happen. These individuals are out here, they've been involved in activities for however long, and they thought that people were going to let them walk away. Because, right, it's been a year, it's been 2 years, it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years. Ain't nobody did nothing to me, ain't nobody going to do nothing now. And lo and behold, actually, somebody was waiting for you to get that comfortable so they could do just that thing to you. Right, it's a vicious cycle. We're going to see more and more and more of this. But the thing that we're about to start seeing is white folks turning on one another. And I don't know if they're going to call it white on white crime or if they're going to call it uh, the remnants of like the cabin fever from the pandemic or just the overall PTSD stress shit. But because they won't tell us about how many murders that went down in the trailer park this year. But believe is likened to the hood. Believe that. Believe that. Because they don't always, they're different. They believe in shooting a motherfucker with a bow and arrow still. They're not above that. Them dudes in them trailer parks, if I really can't, and some of them would prefer to do that anyway because it's quiet. Right. We don't know who got you. We don't know who did it. Anybody could have been hunting. It was an accident. The trailer park justice is real. And I know for a fact it's been going down in all these places. The police won't even talk about it. The police have shot more people this year. I'm just going to wait for it to come out next year. Right on. They've probably shot more people this year than they shot in the last 20, 25 years, almost 30 years. Police have been blasting some folks, killing them. And I'm talking about just out where I live, out here in Tacoma. So I know in the real cities, the police are killing brothers and sisters every day and are half-ass justified because this sucker didn't have the good mind to just put the gun down. Dude, you're not trained. Right. That's the difference between being trained and untrained. Right. When I watch these videos of people going around killing and all that stuff like that and people shooting each other up, I watch to see who's had some kind of training in it and who hasn't. I can just tell. Word? I can just tell. Right. You're better off always paying attention. But you're even better off keeping yourself out of a situation that requires you to always be looking over your shoulder or always to have your back to the wall. You know what I mean? You're better off just staying from that. But the vicious cycle that people put themselves in, they don't even think like that. Their minds are not equipped like that. They really believe that if I go out here and I take somebody's life, that's gonna give me some credit. That's gonna give me, like people gonna really respect me now. But they don't even really respect you because you killed somebody. Really, they looking at you sideways like, well, if this dude killed this individual really over a bag of peanuts, what won't they do to me for even less? They're out here They're putting themselves in situations they have no need to be in. It will be on them to get themselves out. As the scripture says, let the dead bury the dead. The only good thing about the vicious cycle is that every once in a while, a true scumbag that really deserved to go down actually goes down. But a lot of these guys are half steppers who were never really fully involved in that life. You can never be so comfortable. And this is funny. See, this is another reason why I don't drive. Because it's way harder for you to tell me if I'm walking than it is for you when I'm driving. Somebody could easily follow you while you're driving and you might not notice it. When you're on foot, you're paying attention to the whole entire environment. You have to. It's a matter of fact, it's a de facto thing in order to survive. So your attention is not diverted to the road so that way you don't have a vehicular collision. Your attention is made everywhere and you're paying attention to the cars so you don't get run over and killed on accident or on purpose because some of them will do that on purpose too. Having said that though, the fact of the matter remains that people are stuck in a way where they can't even get out. These half-stepping brothers and sisters, they meet their end every day because they're not their hearts. They're you can't be half wicked. It's not gonna work. It doesn't work. You cannot be half. There's no such thing as a successful half wicked individual. They're only partially wicked and they're really successful. It doesn't happen like that. You're either all the way or you're not. And a lot of these individuals out here who are caught in this vicious cycle, they're finding that out. Once again, they find out every day that they weren't cut out for that. Yeah, you have a gun. Yeah, you're willing to shoot the gun if you really have to, but this person will shoot the gun no matter what. And they don't care if they die today. And that's the kind of individual you're up against sometimes. And when you can't realize, see, and it, right, when you can't even realize that and conceptualize that, you're in trouble. Because now you haven't even taken the time to see that this person is willing to throw away the most precious thing that they have. The only thing that they have that's worth anything really is their life. And they're willing to throw that away. Right. You're not. So they'll throw your life away for you. See, that's the difference. But because individuals have never had a truly all the way evil thought ever touch their minds, because they try to stay out of that. They try to stay, I'm not going to become a full-time dope boy. I'm not going to become a full-time gun seller. I'm not going to become a full-time pimp or whatever, right? Or shooter. I'm not going to do none of this full time. I'm gonna do a little this, a little that, and I'm gonna try to work a little job on this. That's not going to work. That's how you get killed because you half in and half out, right? You think nobody knows what you? I mean, somebody has to. Unless you did it all by yourself, somebody knows what you did. See what I'm saying? That's how that's how all wickedness and evil goes. Unless you were actually isolated by yourself, someone knows you committed that act. Right. And I mean when I say isolated by yourself, meaning that there's no other living beings that are involved in whatever you're doing. Right. It's just you. But if you kill somebody, check this out. Even though they're dead, they know you killed them. Right. It's somebody always knows what you've done if you do wrong. It doesn't matter if they're no longer here to tell the story. They know it. They right. It doesn't change. And a lot of these individuals are so caught up with trying to be something that they're not that they're willing to get killed over a bag of peanuts. They're so and this is the craziest part is that these dudes are so willing to kill one another, but they don't have actual real militias where they come from. But they're so brazen with guns. They'll hop out, shoot at people, shoot in broad daylight, do all this dumb shit, but they have no real militias. And they wonder why when they shoot back at the police, somebody who can defend themselves, right? Not an unarmed individual, not somebody who's just slacking and lacking. Nope. Guess what happens 9 times out of 10? These dudes get laid out by the cops almost all the time. The only people who toe to toe beat the police are normally veterans. Very rarely does a real hood nigga or some white trash trailer park dude go toe to toe with the police and win. They're not trained. They don't have the understanding. So therefore they lose. You were fighting against someone who could not adequately defend themselves. This person can. This individual can. Therefore, they end up losing. It's not a surprise, but it's a vicious cycle. This is why I don't feel bad when these dudes get killed by the police sometimes, because I'm like, y'all really look at this. I mean, like, follow me. It's different when you live somewhere dangerous and you get caught with a gun and you go down for that. It's even more different where it's dangerous. You have no criminal record. You have never really been involved in nothing like that. You got the strap, right? You don't have it legally, but you got the strap and you get caught with it and the police kill you. That's tragic. But you know what's not tragic is when this dude has been going around terrorizing the same neighborhood for over a decade. And one day he meets his match in the local police. Right. Right. He done squeezed shots off at him a few times and got away, but he ain't never really had to really plant his feet and really get busy. You follow what I'm saying? He ain't never had to do that. But those police, they practice that. They train with that. They train being under duress and firing that weapon. They some of them train listening to loud music so that way they can understand depth perception and how to shoot when it's loud out. Yes, loud noises will change how you shoot. Anyway, it's it's small things like that that people don't even they don't know. They have no idea of, and they will get killed. Not because they wanted to get killed, but because it's a vicious cycle. The vicious cycle. The cycle of being out in the streets and getting laid out by whether you want to call it the ops or the police or whoever, right? You're just an innocent bystander. Check this out. It's no different. That form of vicious cycleness is no different than professional athletes, and particularly professional football. The road to get there. People get so broken up just to get to being able to play in the pros. It's a shame. It should be looked at as acts of potential homicide, but it's not because they call it a sport. But people are forever changed when they play that sport. How many hits can you really take to the head, help to your body? How many traumatic events can your body go through before it changes you? No matter how normal or regular you want to act. See what I'm saying? Like that has to have a bearing on a person. It must. I know it does. It's the same vicious cycle. Right. Guys who are normally half in, not all the way committed, for one reason or another, are the dudes who always get messed off. Whether they don't make it to the league because they end up going to prison or they get seriously hurt, right? Because there's a lot of guys that get on the field haphazardly. They think they're so good, they think they're so talented, and there's somebody on the other side who they don't have the skill or the talent. They have sheer willpower. That's it. All I've got is my will, homie. I don't have anything else going for me. But I'm gonna use that. And that willpower tears right through all that skill and all that talent. Hurts them forever. It happens every day. Happens every day. Vicious cycle. So when I talk about what I'm talking about, don't apply it to just one little thing. Don't just make it one thing. You follow what I'm saying? Use your mind's creative energy and apply the vicious cycle to as many different things you can apply it to. And once again, we start with logistics. We start with how can I maintain this? How can I give this cycle or this event continuity? It only becomes vicious when people go against the cycle or people don't understand the full effects needed. Prime example. So For the most part, even if you wanted to say, let's say you said that 80% of police officers were actually not really bad, right? And that 20% were. And I think that the number's different than that. And I won't get too carried away. But let's just say you said it was 80-20, right? So one out of every five police officers is a straight, terrible, no good individual. Let me tell you something. How often is that one in five going to be involved in, let's say, a shooting, a police involved shooting? How often will that one in five be involved in high risk traffic stops? How often will that one in five be involved in a high risk warrants being served, right? Where there's a lot of loose money, fiat cash, drugs, paraphernalia, whatever, anything of like true value, right? How you see what I'm saying? When we go to the things that they're going to affect in the cycle, one in five is massive. One in seven is a massive number. Even when you say one in 10, and you start to go down and you start to look at all the things that could potentially go wrong with policing, you start to see that there is no room for corruption, not even a little bit. That's how it works. Now, I understand that the scripture, written by a man named Solomon, his words were, be neither too wise, lest thou be confounded, nor too wicked, lest thou should die before thy time. He didn't say don't be too righteous. Because being wise doesn't mean you're righteous all the time. You follow what I'm saying? See, that's wisdom, that's knowledge, and that's understanding. To understand that my wisdom is not righteousness, right on, and to be wise enough to accept it gives me the knowledge to tell y'all that. See, I don't, I don't, I'm not splitting hairs. I don't believe in making this about me more so than it is really just about the Most High God, and really just about acknowledging that because so long ago the cycle was broken upon the earth, that the vicious cycle has to continue until it's fixed. There's only one that can fix it. So not any one thing that we will do will make the vicious cycle stop, but we can request the presence of they who will make it stop. I have to speak to something for a moment. Let me tell y'all about a vicious cycle. This is a deep one. This is esoteric, spiritual vicious cycle. Check this out. There's an individual. I won't say any names, but if y'all know who this is, go ahead and put this in the bank. But take this to the bank, cash this. Is a good check. It won't bounce. Maybe upwards of 4 years ago, but I know for a fact 3 years ago, they used to go on and on and on and on about this character named OGUN, Ogun. Now, a lot of people didn't know this, right? But I happened to be doing some research and I skimmed across something. And I forget the exact place in Nigeria, but there's a place called Ogun in Nigeria. Now, I believe that this man stopped talking about Ogun like that because he was going on these tirades where he was pretty much shitting on the Africans. I didn't have to shit on the Africans ever. I've never done that. Right on? I've just told them how I felt. The ones who feel like we ain't shit, I feel like you ain't shit. And I know you ain't. The ones who are rocking with us, I'm rocking with you. It's that simple. However, I was I'm the only person I can think of right now who has a YouTube channel who literally went against Pan Africanism, like all out went against it. And I used information that you can go find on the internet, that you can probably go find in your local libraries if they're open again. And I didn't do anything special. Nothing special. But this individual and other individuals didn't feel the need to separate themselves from our so-called African brothers and sisters before this. This man made a lot of money selling this stuff called Ogun juice to people, not realizing that the name that you're using Pretty soon, you're going to be trying to disassociate yourself with the same people associated with that name. Vicious cycle. You would use them in one instance, use a name from the region of the earth that they're from to make money, then turn around not too long after that and be like, not even a couple years after that and be like, yo, we're disowning all y'all. It's all FBA. Well, okay. When these guys first started, they weren't trying to distance themselves from the Africans. It wasn't until that they picked up some traction that they realized, okay, what this dude Demetrius has been saying is actually very true. Where do you think they got lineage-based reparations from? Right here. I'm the only person I know that ever said that, hey, Aboriginal native people to the land are entitled to a different kind of reparations than the people that were brought here. And people that are of an admixture blood, they have to choose. You can't get what both sides get. You get one or the other. I said that, but I'm the one who said tangibles. The Most High God put these things on my heart, on my mind. May He kill me now. He did that. I didn't do nothing. All I did was relay the message. That's all I've ever done. Right now, I'm relaying another message to the people: the vicious cycle, because they don't just talk about simple things and make it simple. I don't care about the view so much as it is I care about the message that I put out that's consistent. We will be in the book of Numbers very soon, more than likely tomorrow, because I got to go back to work on Saturday. So we'll probably more than likely do the book of the whole thing. That's my plan. The whole thing. That is my plan. And I'm not worried or upset or none of that. I want you guys to realize that you are stuck in a vicious cycle. The vicious cycle. It shouldn't be this complicated. You should be able to own land and be left alone if that's what you truly desire. If that is your American dream, they can't determine what I think my dream is here. Right on? If all I want is to be completely left alone, they have to leave me alone. But they don't, because that's not how this country really works. But if this was what they said it was, they would honor that. Right. But they won't let people just be left be. God forbid they left a group of black people to their own devices and they started to thrive without money. Literally thriving. That's how's that gonna bode? Huh? How's that gonna go for people? How's that gonna look? You don't have to actually work for a living to have a great living. Not to do the kind of work that these guys do. I need y'all to understand this. People cut down their own trees for a long time. And I forget who I was talking to, uh they made an excellent point. You know, I think I was at work. I may not have been at work. I forget who I was talking to though. Was talking about how horses, right? For thousands and thousands of years, as long as people have known about civilizations, up into 100 years ago, think about this, up into 100 years ago, the horse was the main means of transportation all across the earth. And there's still places on the earth where it's still the main mode of transportation till this day. That should tell you right there that everything that they have us doing is backwards. Think about what I'm saying for a moment. As bad as slavery had to have been on black people, there was still a sense of, if I get away from all this, I can just kind of live. Yeah, you have to be worried about slave catchers or whatever, this, that, the third. But what's the difference now? Right. Only back then, you could actually cut down some trees, right? You could actually skin them the right way. There's things you could do. You could actually make your own timber. You could really do that. It wasn't impossible. Tools were available. When they make these movies and stuff like that, and every runaway slave don't have shit, didn't take nothing from the house, man, that's complete utter bullshit. So a nigga ran away with nothing and he just lived off of sheer will and ingenuity. No, man, they brought stuff with them. Even though the vicious cycle has never been any different, because it sucks the life, the soul, the precious energy right out of you. But even though back then, like I said, once again, we're talking about what it's portrayed as. I'm just making the point that even our people back then understood that if I just get away, I can do something for myself. There is no getting away and doing something for yourself now. Everything is on camera. Your whole life could be on camera. If you had a child right now, you could technically make it to where every day their whole life is recorded up until a certain point. And if they chose to keep recording their life, they could have their whole life recorded, their entire life. Why? Why? What good is solitude or peace if you won't give yourself any and you won't demand any? See, that's part of reparations. It's being left the fuck alone. They're talking about, oh, you have to do dealings with. No, the fuck I don't, dog. That's part of the problem. Part of the issue why black people are fucked up here is because what they've been forced to be around individuals they would not otherwise be around. No, did I tell a lie just then? See, the cycle has never ever been different. Like I told you, it's a logistical thing. Me and brother Andre talk about something very, very, very often. Not so much lately, but very often it will come up when we talk about slaves. How a slave getting a pair of shoes in their life was a big deal. It's a huge deal. You know how many black people died as slaves without a pair of shoes? Think about that. Think about how vicious that cycle was. Oh, and just for anybody who doesn't know, I would rather wear sackcloth than wear cotton. Cleaner to wear. We're not supposed to be even. We're not supposed to wear cotton. That's what the scripture says. We're not supposed to even be wearing it. Neither here nor there. Point being this though, the way that we have transitioned our life from one stage till now to not realize that we're still stuck in a very, very ugly, unchanging, unforgiving cycle. There's no, it's unmerciful. Like I had to tell these guys the other day, because I've been saying it, and now they're just now adapting it. I said it's just a job, right? I'm always gonna work hard to do my best, but it's just a job. Because like me and Andre, because that's my brother. He's look, man. If I die at work, if the work me dies, the real me died. Okay, the real me doesn't come back to life once work is over. If the work me is dead, it's over. So I need to stay alive for that purpose and almost that purpose only at work, and for all other reasons. Because when it's done, it's done. So again, if you're chasing loose women, if the sisters are chasing thirsty men, if the young boys are confused about their sexuality and the young girls with them, and the babies are watching all these things take place right in front of them, the vicious cycle continues. It won't change unless you make it change. What can you make it do? Nothing. But you can pray for the Most High God to come back. You can make that to happen. That will be the part that you play in it. That's your goal. I got some pictures I want to show y'all of the moon taken from Brother Ben Judah over there in the UK. You know, full moon from a couple nights ago. Confirmation that there's not 30 days to these whole months. I got to go find a part in the book of Enoch where it breaks down how full moon cycles go, and that's not a 30-day process. So just throwing it out there, these years have way less days than people think they do. They do. They have considerably less days. And the more I think about it, the more I just want to throw up sometimes because I'm like, oh my God, they literally have us stuck here. Vicious cycle. We don't leave on this note, but we make a very important point on this note. One of the major keystones to logistics is so-called time and the measurement thereof. The only issue with trying to measure time is that clocks do not have a daytime setting and a nighttime setting. Being that the clock would be able to tell you when the sun is out and when the sun is not out. That is a true indication of time. However, Benjamin Banneker, you can thank him for totally disrupting the understanding of the natural flow of time. Yes, he did that. Now, why this is important is because 1753, I want to say, the modern clock is implemented, something like that. Y'all got to really understand the vicious cycle that was created with the misunderstanding of time. People have always misreckoned time, long before there was a clock. Yes, so it is written that I believe. Right. The book of Enoch has told me no lies, has only told me the truth. And because people have reckoned time incorrectly, men have, not even talking about Gentiles, because men have reckoned time incorrectly and improperly. Benjamin Banneker was a what? A former slave. Is he not truly a man? Did he not reckon time improperly when he made the device called the clock here in America? Not that there wasn't already clocks on the earth, but the one that he made, to this day they use it. Right. Right. They put 24 hours into the day as opposed to 18 parts. But then the parts would dictate that this is day, and other parts would dictate that this is night. Then you would get to truly see how many parts of a day there are and how many parts of a night there is. Oh my goodness, I'm giving y'all the game right now. Vicious cycle created. Vicious cycle created in 1753. Think about it. Those are the sort of things that as a people we have no time to give consideration to. Don't worry, I'll consider it for all of us. And anyone who wants to disregard it, let them disregard it. It's their prerogative to do such. Me, on the other hand, I bless the people that would not listen to me. Because guess what? I owe them nothing. I don't have to tell them anything. And they don't owe me anything. So they don't lose by not participating in what we would desire them to participate in. Brothers and sisters, I say these things before I get up out of here in the next 10, 20 minutes. Since they have improperly reckoned the time, how will you know when the Most High God is back? As I asked somebody a question the other day, how would you know? And I'm basing this on something that Abraham obviously was able to do, Isaac, Isaac, and Jacob. But let me break it down. How would you know who the wisest, most understanding, most knowledgeable person is that you ever came in contact with? How would you know that? How would you be sure of it? The reason why I said it is because Abraham came into contact with the Messiah, whom he considered the Lord, who in other terms and essences is considered the God of Isaac and Jacob, even to be considered the God of Abraham, but not the Most High God. Giving heed to that, Abraham knows that the Lord is the Lord when he's going to Sodom and Gomorrah. And the Messiah says something to the effect of, "Shall I hide from my servant Abraham that which I plan to do?" Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's is something to that effect. And what I take from this, what I gather from this, is that Abraham was able to perceive that this is the Messiah. Will my brothers and sisters have the ability to perceive that they are dealing with the Messiah when he comes back? When he makes himself known to them, will they know who he is? I ask myself, well, I know. I have a host of questions I'd like to ask, but the most important would be, what were the first words of the first man in the garden? Those are the things that I like to know. Right. I have my own ways to test the spirit. I'd advise for you to think of your own. However, the fact of the matter still remains. Time was improperly reckoned. So now we don't know how long we're going to be here. I have a slight idea. Like I said, I'm looking at the 2027 range, but anything could happen any day that they force a sense of stress and duress onto the people so that way they can further not see the signs of the time change. That is the blessing. The vicious cycle will continue because guess what? People will not reach out to the greatest frequency that there is, and they will maintain their base level frequency, engaging in a broken cycle, engaging in activities that are otherwise adding to the vicious cycle. Do y'all realize that Sodom and Gomorrah cried out to heaven, that the land cried up, not just the people, but the land itself? Do y'all understand that? Do y'all understand that right now on the earth, as we do everything that we do, the earth cries up and abhors the people that are upon the land? And because many of them continue in the vicious cycle, their lives will be forfeited come that day. How about that? So I want them to be comfortable with their heaters and their air conditioning. And I want them to be happy with the piece of land that they believe that they own, that the United States government could claim eminent domain over any day that they chose to in the event of martial law or like circumstances. Yes, right. Anytime they claim that it's a matter of national security, they can claim eminent domain, just in case y'all didn't know that. The vicious cycle will continue, and those who do not believe that the cycle is vicious, those who believe that everyone gets what they get, those will be the ones who are hurt the most in the end. There will be no police to call. There will be no 911. There will be no one able to help you come that day. Do you understand this, brothers and sisters? Do you accept this? Because the cycle shall continue to devour and spit out the bones of those who were half hearted. Half hearted being that they half worship the Most High God. Oh, didn't see this one coming, huh? Half-hearted being that they really don't believe in the things that they say they believe in. If you have to be begged to stop doing wrong, guess what? You enjoy doing it. If you have to be asked to do right, that means that you don't want to do right. This is a fact. The cycle will continue to chew up and spit out the weakest and the most unprepared and the most ill informed and the most uncommitted. And those of the righteous that be caught up in the midst of all these things, the Most High God knows their hearts, He knows their spirits. The frequency of the living is not the frequency of the dead. Hold on, let me go ahead and tell y'all something real quick. Let me give y'all some game, the vicious cycle. Did y'all know that there were people who were alive right now? So you'd have to be able to sense like meta frequencies. But this is what the Messiah was talking about. I'm gonna give y'all some game. Did you know that the living are people who have the frequency of actual life encoded into their very fabric? Those who are dead are the, no matter what the flesh looks like, into their very fabric is the frequency of death. Obviously, the Most High God chooses. I believe that when they write in the book of life, it changes the frequency. The book of life controls some sort of frequency with fate. It's connected. The book of life is connected literally to life. When the book of life was created, I don't know. There's only there can only be so many pages in the book of life, so there can only be so many living in the book of life. Okay, then. All things not written there must be dead, even if they have flesh that is alive right now, covered by the base frequency of life, but not embedded with it. That, my friends, is part of the vicious cycle, a logistical effort from the heavens. I can only share so much of these types of things because people don't understand enough to even have that kind of conversation with me, let alone believe what I believe. They believe what they believe. They believe in the book of the Revelation. They believe in the book of Trasher, not Jasher, but Trasher. I've been reading some of this stuff, and I'm going to expose this book very soon, too. The book is a fake, a fraud, and a phony. I skimmed through it the other day. Once again, part of the vicious cycle. People, because they're half-hearted and they don't really believe what they're reading, that they can't just take the laws of Moses and just say anything that goes against this, I'm not with it. That's way too complicated. That is, whoa, Meech, you better slow down there, nigga. Right. That's how they're talking to me without even saying it. Because if they didn't feel like that, there'd be no need to read a book of a man who never gets mentioned one time in the first five books. Why that's important? Well, because he's mentioned in the sixth book, in the book of Joshua, of all places. Right. A guy that rolled with Moses, and this Jasher character was not once spoke about. How would Jasher know about these events if Moses had just found out about it from the Most High God himself? Moses went up to a mountain to hear these things. Yet there's no credence or understanding to anything about Jasher. It's just a whole bunch of them throwing stuff around. I mean, that's what I have to do. I have to laugh at that. It's crazy. It's man, it's crazy. I'm gonna drink this last little part shot and then I'm gonna roll out, y'all. So recapping, don't move too far from the hood. Uh, if you're gonna be in the streets 10 toe down, right on. You got to treat real life like a ladder. It's 3 points of contact at all time. 4 when you can really help it, but at least 3. This is just real life. Can't be half in and half out. Another major part of it. Understand how something starts and how understand how something ends. The vicious cycle is all I told you. It's logistics. The earth itself is one big thing of logistics. The soil has to get so much rain. The trees and the grass have to absorb so much of the rain for the soil to not become overly saturated with water. The sun has to shine so much to transmute and to transform the base chemicals in the soil without the water to something better with the water, hopefully producing life. Right. The wind cannot blow too hard, but it must blow enough to help pollinate the earth. Yes, wind helps pollinate the earth. If all these buildings weren't up, everything would be pollinated the perfect ways. But there's so many obstructions that it can't pollinate like it naturally would. Once again, you have to understand logistics. You have to really truly understand it. Let's speak to something else about the vicious cycle. I don't typically like speaking ill on the dead, so I'm not gonna speak ill on the brother Kevin Samuels, but I'm gonna speak to something about his situation. So whether he killed himself, whether he died of some kind of health conditioning or whatever, to call yourself high value and to leave the earth so young, that's something for y'all to think about. Don't put a label on yourself that you can't live up to. That's part of understanding logistics. That's part of the vicious cycle. Dudes out here in these rap songs talking about I'm a killer, I'm a killer, I'm a killer. Okay, well, when somebody tries you and they kill you because you said you was a killer, guess what? They got your number, bro. Or you know what I mean? They got your number. Y'all can't be mad because they have your number. You can't be mad because you know what I mean. That's what, right? If you go around here telling people I fight, but I really put the hands on. I'm not worried about somebody trying to punch me up or nothing like that. But that's the kind of thing, though. If somebody trying to run up on me, and now all of a sudden I'm trying to call the police and do anything other than throw hands on them, you see what I'm saying? Get lumped up and my eye all closed up, looking crazy, looking like homeboy off of Meteor Man. You feel what I'm saying? No, man, we're not going out like that. So we have to have, as a people and a collective, we have to have enough good sense to realize, okay, I have to know when to step away from some activities that I'm not going to be involved in. And I have to know that when there's times where I don't have the opportunity to step away, I'm already involved and I have to go all in just to get out of this situation. You know what I mean? Like you have to know. Like this is all logistics. I keep trying to break it down. Understanding the flow of supplies and materials, the events that lead to another event, the cycle, that is logistics. It really is. They can try to tell you something else. But understanding how things work is logistics. That's the cycle. This, but the cycle is vicious right now because guess what? There are too many individuals who don't understand how things work who are involved in the cycle. Therefore, they cause mishaps and they cause suffering and tragedy to take place every day, travesties, if you will, right? For all the 10 people who died in that store in Buffalo, I pray that your families have enough good sense to go seek justice on their own, to hire private investigators, to look into this individual's background and his entire family's background, and don't wait for the city to do anything for you. Spend the thousands of dollars that y'all can pull up together yourselves and hire somebody who really will go out and do the investigative work. That's what you're all supposed to do. And then if y'all come to find out that there was somebody who was nurturing or who was uh what's the word I'm looking for? It's pretty much like where you raise something. What's the word I'm looking for? I I can't really think of the word right now. It's not nurturing, but it's a different word. Right on. But it's pretty much where you you pretty much like allow for something to manifest or percolate. I just can't think of the word right now though. But anyway, uh they need to find out if anybody's involved in that. And what they need to do is you don't pursue a criminal case. You go after a civil suit, right on. You sue the family in small claims. You get as much as you can out of the small claims. Then once you are successful or unsuccessful there, I would think that you would be successful if there's enough proof to show that somebody in his family actually harbored the same view and they potentially are the reason why the young dude went all the way off the chain. And if there's any kind of proof like that, you take them to the small claims, you sue them, you win, then you take from whatever from the small claims, then you go and you open up, a actual civil suit against them. From the civil suit, you would hope that the civil suit gains so much traction that a lawyer, right on, a prosecutor now, on their own volition would pick up the case and charge them with criminal charges. That process takes so long, but that's the only viable process that they have. The only other thing they could do is go and wipe this dude's whole family out. That's not going to solve the problem, though. You see what I'm saying? That's exactly what he wants. So that's stupid. You follow what I'm saying? Like the whole process, that whole cycle is so vicious that it's like the only thing that you could do is something that makes you feel as if you're lesser than a person for allowing somebody to take life of those you love and not going and doing the same thing to them. But if he doesn't love his family like that, then you don't really hurt him like that. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't hurt him if he doesn't care for them. So this is why I'm trying to say like I, I can only feel so bad for all of those people. Right on. I can only feel so bad for all of them because like I said, I've met people from that region and I've known of them. And some of them been real stand up individuals, but some of them been like, man, I gives a fuck what happens to you. If you get struck by lightning while we having a conversation, nigga, I ain't gonna stop to piss on you, throw a cover on you or nothing. I'm just gonna walk away and act like I didn't see that shit happen. So it's like, and I'm just being honest. I don't know what kind of individuals they were. People be like, "Oh, that's a loss of life. That's tragic." So if 10 Nazis got killed, will y'all feel if 10 former Nazis got killed right now, would y'all all say that that was a tragic loss of life? If somebody went into a place and killed 10, could prove it. All of these dudes, all of these chicks work for the Nazi party. Would y'all have the same sentiment? So it's like, and I'm not comparing black people to Nazis. I'm telling y'all, you cannot feel bad for the wicked. So you need to, unless you personally know somebody, you cannot get attached to these situations like that. Right on? Unless their life story is a little more drawn out, where they're like, okay, like a Tatiana Jefferson. There's a reason why I speak on her and I don't talk about Breonna Taylor as much. Right on? Because the situation with Breonna Taylor is like the dude, Kenneth Walker, looked like a piece of shit, seemed like a piece of shit. I'm pretty sure he is. Quite positive. I can't prove that he was really the drug kingpin, but that's some of the shit that happened leads me to believe that. However, however, somebody like a Tatiana Jefferson who was literally at home playing video games with her nephew, right? Seemed like she was really kind of like a really good sister. You know what I'm saying? Like just a all out, genuine, good, beautiful person. Not to say that Breonna Taylor is not, but the fact that look at the difference. There's the dichotomy is so stark. You can't deny it. In one instance, right? You can say, "Oh, well, they weren't really looking for Breonna Taylor." Okay, but they were looking for Kenneth Walker. They were looking for somebody in that residence. They weren't not looking for nobody. Right. One is literally a welfare check gone totally south, The other one is the execution of a warrant and somebody in the home shooting at the police. Think about it now. Right. Think about that. And I still blame the police for shooting Breonna Taylor because if they could discern that one person had a gun, they could discern that the other person didn't have a gun. They shot her on purpose, though. Like Andre likes to say, we never know if he set her up. We'll never know. I don't like Kenneth Walker. I think he's a piece of shit without a fucking spine. And that's why he was able to get so low on the ground. He was able to just become like goo, right on straight fucking goop when he laid down. So that way he wouldn't get hit. The vicious cycle has people like Breonna Taylor is dead because of a dude who had no good sense. You can say he was protecting his home. Why didn't he fire the whole magazine? I mean, that's the basic question, y'all. He fired one shot. Who fires a warning shot? Nobody does that. This is not a fucking movie. And just in case y'all didn't know, police don't fire warning shots. The military fires warning shots. And they fire warning shots at individuals who are approaching in vehicles so that way they don't have to kill them. So that way they can try to avoid a potential international incident. It's a totally different concept, a totally different mindset and understanding. Having said that, Tatiana Jefferson was doing nothing to no one. DeJohn Kisley was doing nothing to no one, even Ahmaud Arbery. Right on? As crazy as I think he was for wrestling with these guys with a shotgun, right? I mean, that's just being true. That's just being honest with y'all. If you don't know how to take a weapon from somebody, why try to take it? If you don't know, you have to push the gun up with their arms all the way. You know what I'm saying? You have to force the gun up or force the gun down. It has to be away from you. You can't let the, you see what I'm saying? And if a person has the ability to shoot you in general, the only thing you can do outside of running away, if running away, you'll get killed too. The only thing you can do is commit to a strike on their body, the eyes, the throat, the growing area, right on? Even in their solar plex, if you can really get them. But the throat, the eyes, the growing are extremely good areas to hit somebody, right on? To give yourself a second to think, to even potentially be able to disarm them. It's not a movie, okay? It's not a movie. It's not a movie. And in order to shoot you, people normally have to see you. That's why I say go for the eyes first. Because if you can hit them I'm talking about straight up spread out. If you can just, if you can really get your fingers, you go look how you really eye gouge somebody. You don't try to poke them right in the eyes. Let your fingers slide up from the bottom and then poke them. So you want your fingers to slide up so that way they can slide up under their eyes, right into their eye sockets, and hopefully pop their eyes out. I'm vicious, y'all. I'm not fucking playing no games with nobody, and I don't go out there doing shit like this to people, so that way I don't get arrested. Okay, but that's the kind of stuff you got to do. You don't go up and try to take a gun from some. They already have the gun drawn. You don't try to beat them with the gun. What you try to do is you just try to beat them. Period. I don't want to take the gun from you. Now I just want to hurt you really bad. Because if I can hurt you real bad right now, right on, you won't have a chance to do anything else with that gun. You might even get to shoot me. I might even get shot like in my head, but it doesn't mean it's fatal. Until you're dead, you're not dead. Right on? Always be thinking functionally and always think tactically. Got to do both. You got to bridge the two things together. God of glory. My brothers and my sisters. I say these things to y'all because I have to. Right on? I need to. I'm not here to tell you about politics because I don't care about politics. Why I don't care about politics? Why? Because I don't believe in voting. Why I don't believe in voting? Because there's no need to engage in an activity that they've shown you that they have no intent, they have no plans to do what it is that you want them to do. The vicious cycle, brothers and sisters, is going to be a cold one. It's going to get most people dead. And in the end, it's going to cause for the great day of blood, where people kill their own kin, people kill their own brothers, their own sisters, their own mothers, their own fathers. They get killed by their own brothers, their own sisters, their own fathers, their own mothers. It's going to be a crazy day because the vicious cycle is leading to that very moment. See, I like holding back and holding in some of my opinion because it's not everybody's business what I think. Boy, that hair is wild. There we go. Not everybody's business what I think. It's my business because it's my mind. What you think is your business because it's your mind. If you share it with me, that's fine. If you don't, I'm just fine with that too. But what I won't do, brothers and sisters, is I won't put myself in a position to be left holding an empty bag by myself. The vicious cycle has allowed for people to do that in this land to my people for far too long and with no consequence. What a surprise, right? What a surprise. Still, the point that I have to make is a really simple one. By the time most of the people who are supposed to do the right thing start doing the right thing, it'll be too late. Way too late. I'm not all over the place. I'm just touching a bunch of different places. But I'm not all over the place. Get what I'm saying? I'm just touching a bunch of different bases, but I'm not all over the place. Anybody that knows me has to understand that this is probably a thought from another time that I'm just now continuing. And all my things that I say typically run together in some way, shape, or form or fashion. Even if the work is standalone, I can still put it together with other works. This is no different. The individuals who have considered themselves to be the leaders haven't even shown the people how to do the right things. And this is why in the end, they too will eat the end of a sword. Not that's what I want for them, but the dead will bury the dead. I believe that the people that deal with me are among the living. I believe that I'm among the living. I believe that if I continue to do right in the eyes of the Most High God, when I do right in His eyes, that the frequency of life eternal, will continue to stay in my fibers, even if I perish off the earth. I believe the Most High God will bring me back. These are the same individuals who conjure up black flames, and they want y'all to not believe that there's a Most High God. Yet they would worship something that is totally the opposite of what He is. What they worship wants all death for everyone, including they who worship them. Right. My God wants us to live. Your God, our God, wants us to live and to survive on. He didn't create man for man to end. Brothers and sisters, I can only ask y'all this one thing. Do me this one solid. When the next full moon comes in roughly 24, 25 days, I need y'all to take pictures of it, whatever state you're in. Keep it on your phone, and then my email will be in this video somewhere at some point. If they get to this point, it'll be in here. They can send it to my email. I'm I'm on the verge of a breakthrough of dispelling a part of the vicious cycle. It's not, once again, we can't fix it ourselves, but we can fix it by asking He who can to fix it. He who can fix it to fix it, and he will. If y'all believe in worshiping your ancestors, why won't y'all worship somebody that's still alive? I don't understand. Like, what is wrong with you? You know what I mean? That's what I have to figure out in my head. Like, what is wrong with them? I know that the people that really deal with me like that, that's not how they believe. But we all have to understand that there's people that come around here fairly regularly that probably really aren't all the way sold on the Most High God, and they're looking for what they call the truth. But the truth of the matter is that if they go and eat some uncooked seafood or some uncooked pork, they're out of here. The truth of the matter is that even if they cook it and eat it, they can still be out of here. Right. That's the truth of the matter. Truth of the matter is that if you go sleep with the animal, you're gonna get diseases. Right. Truth of the matter is if you lay down with a man that's with a woman and you are a man, you probably gonna get a disease. Not only that, but there are all kind of medical issues that come with people who are homosexuals, men and women. Right. See what I'm saying? So why would I question something that people have already scientifically has been shown are bad for us, are not good for us? They do not incorporate the continuation of life in their normal happenstance. Yet people are looking for the truth. People will call the truth a religion that was created and invented well after the fact that the children of Judea, the children of Israel, were pushed all the way out of the land. Does that even make sense to any of y'all? Anyway, man, look, I'm gonna hit this ball and I'm ending this on a positive note. See, I didn't see. I'm not perfect. They say that's part of the vicious cycle. Let it be. Yeah, people get killed every day for marijuana. I guess, sure, sure. But people get killed every day for way different other things that ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't have enough of it for nobody to want to kill me over. Right on. And anything that I have that's not worth my life, I'm normally willing to give, especially if it's just a material item. Having said that, I've said more than enough about the situation. Got a maybe a moment or two left in me, but I'm ready to roll because I've already I've spoken what needs to be spoken. And there's no need for me to harp on it if I've said what people really need to hear, because everybody wants to root for the wicked. Everybody, all black people can't be righteous, man. I mean, like, let's just break it down. So, how many of the victims are just innocent people who never did nothing to nobody? You know what I mean? Like we got to start looking at this stuff a whole lot more honestly, and just like as an adult. Okay, we're in a land that we're being oppressed in. Does that mean that we have the right to act a complete utter fool? No, it doesn't. Right on. Does it mean that we have the right to be frustrated? Sure. If you can control your frustration, if you don't let it spill over. But if your first move, if your first idea is to allow what little oppression, little being the fact that you can go get a job and live somewhere, what little oppression you have to deal with, right? Because nobody tells black people to spend all half their paycheck on a pair of shoes, right? Oh, the hoes gonna love these, nigga. These bitches is clean. All right. Well, we'll see how your pockets love it. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? We'll see how much your pockets love it. But in the vicious cycle, people don't even think. They don't have the ability to even see past right now. In the vicious cycle, people will say tomorrow's not promised. But tomorrow actually is promised. It's just not promised for me or you, but the sun is going to be here tomorrow. I guarantee it. I I guarantee the sun will be out there. Doesn't need me or you. It didn't need me or you before we were here. It doesn't need us after the fact. So tomorrow is promised, contrary to popular belief. It's just not promised for the single individual organism that lives. That's okay. I got fruit in my fridge, right? Some of it's going to live past today. Some of it, it's over after today. It's already done. It's in my head already. You get what I'm saying? Right. It's like that. Do they know which? I don't know which piece I'm going to get, but I'm going to get a piece of fruit. I'm going to tear some stuff up. It's not going to live to see tomorrow. That's how that works. But all the other pieces that don't get eaten, they're probably guaranteed to get to the next day. Right. And as long as we can be honest with ourselves and tell ourselves the truth, we can get somewhere. We can't get anywhere with people not being genuine and not being honest. We can't get anywhere with people literally lying to themselves about every little thing. Yeah, you worked hard to get what you got. Yeah, you should enjoy the fruits of your labors, but don't think what you're doing is so damn special that you follow me. Slaves didn't get to enjoy the fruits of their labors. So who the fuck are you compared to them? Nobody, nothing. Right. And if you can tell yourself you've done more for your family than you've done for a group of people, who the fuck are you again? See what I'm saying? Cause that's the real. That's the real. Oh, that's all these do. Once again, that's your wife. That's your husband. Those are your children. You're supposed to take care of them. Those are your parents. You're supposed to take care of them. That's your brother and your sister. You're supposed to look after them. That's your cousin. That's your auntie. That's your uncle. You're supposed to look after them. But those strangers that you see every day who could just use a few dollars of your hard earns because they either don't got it in them anymore or the vicious cycle has chewed them up and spit them out. It's up to you to discern that because they might not tell you that. So it's up to you to be able to judge that. But if you don't have the good sense to do more for others outwardly than you would try to go do for yourself, don't talk about the Most High God. Don't bring him up. Do not utter his essence to me. Want to know why? Because he's done more for us than he's done for himself. What does he get out of me or you breathing? Nothing other than the satisfaction of knowing that we're alive. If that brings him satisfaction. So when people say all that bullshit, but they don't even walk the walk. Once again, it's a vicious cycle because it's broken. Because logistically, they don't understand what they're supposed to do. What God do these dudes believe in if they can watch me suffer, go into the store, come out with a bag full of groceries, and don't even ask me if I'm hungry? And they can see that I got tore up, dirty ass clothes on. And I seem like I'm unapproachable. What God do they believe in? Like I said, it's not my place to judge the victims, but I can question things about a victim. Let me tell y'all something. People forget this. But one of the real fire starters for a lot of shit was Freddie Gray. People forget about Freddie Gray. And you know, whether Freddie Gray was a dope dealer, career criminal, this, that, and the other, don't really matter to me. Want to know why? Because the next time we heard about Freddie Gray, he had been pretty much folded up. Yep. He had been essentially folded up like a damn beach towel, like a lawn chair. They broke that brother's back. They murdered him. No matter what they say, no matter what they say he done in that moment, nothing justifies that. Right. Unless you can show me he had blood on his hands, you can't justify that. No different than with the white dude. If the white boy could prove that this guy's a murderer, this chick set a dude up, this guy's a pedophile, Now, why he ain't doing this to white folks, God only knows. But the little white dude had to understand and like, okay, I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna go and get individuals that really have done wrong. Who am I to say if this dude can prove that? How bad can I really feel for you? None of that can be proven. And I won't let my heart go out to anybody that I don't know was not outwardly wicked. Make the proclamation. I'm not a wicked, evil individual. I'm not a wicked, evil man or woman. They don't make that proclamation. I have no reason to believe that they're not. Understood already that somebody who is evil, who is wicked, could say that they're not. But their actions will dictate that. So again, if you're hard up, if you make, listen, if you're making over 40 grand a year and you're hard up to give somebody 10 or 20 bucks when they're on the streets, who are you to ask the Most High God for mercy? And miss me with the bullshit of, oh, they made their own decisions. Understood that. Understood and understand that just fine. So for every decision that you've made that was not wise, have you had to pay the same penalties, the same price that they're paying right now? Oh, no? Right. See, this is why the dead will be left to bury the dead. Right on? I'm only here for the living. I only care about the living. I only care about those who have an internal frequency embedded in them as life and not death. So even when they do pass away, the Most High God can look down. It's almost like looking at lights among darkness. Almost like, see, I mean, I'm trying to break down how my imagination, how I see it, how I visualize what the Messiah means. And when I hear it, I hear that there's a true way to define and discern who the living and who the dead are. Now, my eyes are not open to the way that I would want them to be or to the level that they may possibly be able to be if I do the right things. But the point is this: you have people who have halfway committed themselves and wonder why the cycle is vicious. Even though I don't have children, see, I'm gonna break something down real quick. I don't raise my own son, right on. I'm not raising anybody else's children. But y'all know what I do? I give alms to the poor all the time. When I say all the time. Like the same money that I would spend on if I had a child, right? I just do that for other people. I'm able to just bless so many people because I don't care about the money. Right. What I'm owed, they won't and cannot give me. So no amount of money that I make is going to make it better. If I'm truly not able to take it to the grave with me, and if I truly could die any day, why not do the best I can do by somebody right now today? See, when you start to ask yourself those kinds of questions, it becomes honestly real and it becomes really honest. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. Neither do you. But what you and I both need to do, all of us need to do, the whole group of Afro Nigs, man and woman and child, we must realize there is no better day coming. Unless y'all want to be slaves again. There is no better day coming. And then if you were slaves again, all of us were slaves again. I'm not trying to become a slave. So I'm either dead or running away. Big facts. Unless they just catch me. Okay. Unless I can't, obviously fight it out to the end. Because that's what's happening. I'm not just giving up. Sorry. I've let them do enough. I've allowed them to do enough. They've ruined my life enough. They don't get to ruin it any more than they already have. What little things of comfort and joy I may actually have right now, I don't even have. Where when I say I don't even have, do not even have. It's a tiresome effort. It's a tiresome effort. But let me tell you all this really, really before I have to get up out of here. I smoke this chronic too, because not that I don't care, but I'm grown. Just like people walk by the homeless, right, and don't give them no money or nothing like that. I'm able to do whatever I want to do too. I can be totally facetious too. If this is facetious. The point being this: nothing that I'm doing is gonna hurt your life. And since I already accept that I've played my part in the vicious cycle, you know, that picture of those two snakes, right? Whether anybody wants to realize it or not, if you've ever, for the sake of competition, for like let's say like you were trying to get a better job or get like a promotion at work, for the sake of competition, you stepped over somebody or stepped on somebody to get there, you cannot extricate yourself, abdicate yourself, mitigate your presence, okay? Exonerate yourself. You can't do none of that because you're just as guilty as the next one. Right. Now, don't y'all think it's weird? Follow me. This is deep. Oh, I'm about to go somewhere real quick. Don't y'all think it's weird that the little white boy in was it Michigan or Wisconsin? I'm pretty sure it's Michigan, who went and shot up the high school, right? Now, don't y'all think it's crazy that they arrested his parents, but didn't go and get the parents of the little white boy who drove 200 miles to go shoot up a place full of people? School or no school? Right. Who was he living with? See, this is the kind of shit that I'm trying to say. I'm quite sure at 18, this dude was not all by himself. And if he was all by himself, how was he all by himself? Was anybody a financier of the way he was living his life? If they were indeed, got to go get him. At 18 and the month is only May, he hadn't even graduated yet, unless he graduated early and all this other extra stuff. See what I'm saying? Like, got to go get his parents too. But because it's a vicious cycle, they don't want everybody to feel like they're all on notice. Right. How many of y'all remember Maurice Clemens? A real one. He's a real hero. See, Maurice Clemens killed 4 police officers all by himself. And if he had actually meant to kill all 4 of those cops, I'm sure he would have never even been injured in the exchange. But he was actually trying to kill one officer. Just so happens he had to get all of them. Check this out. That's not why he's a hero, though. The real reason why Maurice Clemens is a hero is because the police killed his brother, right on, Lakewood Police. The dude, one of the cops who was in there was on the scene when his brother had got killed. Follow me. That's the true definition of Avenger of Blood. Salute. Having said that, do y'all know that they went after his whole family? Do y'all know that? Did y'all have any idea that they went after his whole entire family? Now, mind the fact he just killed 4 police officers, right? So really, he's concerned about their life, right? He's concerned about their life. Mind the fact, though, they couldn't have just been scared for their own lives, but they went after his whole family. 4 punk ass cops, who one of them helped murder his brother. See, When I say the shit that I say, I mean it. I don't care. And I'm serious when I say it. They want to be mad because I said he's a hero. He's a hero. Right on. If they had more Maurice Clemens in the hood, niggas wouldn't be killing each other, number one. Number two, right on, because you'd be afraid of somebody like him running up on you and your homeboys and doing that to y'all. You wouldn't you wouldn't act like that. There was a time when black people just didn't do stupid shit because they understood that there's guys that'll really come out here and hurt you, bro. They'll hurt everybody that's out there with you, just to make the point that being around somebody who's no good, this is what can happen to you. But they're gonna let the white dude's family walk away. I don't get it. He's only 18. He didn't indoctrinate himself. He was indoctrinated by, once again, his parents. Where was the supervision for all these years? Ain't nobody hearing my logic, man. It's a vicious cycle. But they'll have tried to charge one dude's parents. They bought him the gun. What difference is buying you the gun is if you go buy your own gun and I help supply the money for you. Or better yet, did this dude buy that gun with fucking government stimulus money? Should these families be trying to sue the U.S. government for not paying better attention to the people that they gave all this money to? Right. They spy on everybody every day. Man, I just need y'all to understand that's it. Poop butts who don't get it, who don't understand, will never understand. And cats who don't do for their people every day when they can, will never understand. These individuals are not on the level. They'll never be on the level. They can only hope to get on the level. All they can do is memorize what you said and then repeat it. That's all they're good at. But they don't actually know anything. You feel what I'm saying? Like I say things that I actually know that I never heard anybody else say it other than me. And I might have searched it out before I brought it up to say it, so that way I didn't say what I'm saying right now. But a lot of the things that I done brought to the people, right, man, right from the heavens, it seems like, bro. It's just I, going going all the way down. I'm not afraid of these individuals. I'm not afraid to say that Maurice Clemens is a hero. If somebody killed your family member and you felt it was unjustified, right on, regardless of circumstances, because you're like, had this been another type of person, they might not have approached it that way. They might have approached it much differently. I.e., the fact that the dude went into a supermarket, shot up 10 black people, right on, killed them all, and shot another three more, who any one of them could potentially pass just because of the injuries, complications from the injuries. If not this year, next year, or the years following. So it's not, to me, it's just not equitable to have a situation where, in one instance, you're going to say, well, look, this individual's whole family is responsible, and we don't give a damn. They harbored him. They did this and this and this. They killed Maurice Clemens. They tried to say that he was trying to ambush other police, but there's no videos to corroborate that story. It's just what the police officer said. And they took pictures of Maurice Clemens when he was handcuffed and bullet shots all on his head and shit, and they made that a thing. Right. You follow what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't there. There is no body cam of the stuff that went down with Maurice Clemens. I need y'all to understand. Prove it. Show it to me. Show it to me that he was really trying to ambush these dudes. Right. Because that's what they said. He was already injured. I heard that he was asking for help and got smoked. Wow. See? But this was fresh when it happened. They'll never tell you that. They'll never tell you that the brother tried to get help. They'll tell you that, oh, he tried to ambush him. But I wasn't there, so I don't know that. And I met people who were close to the scene of the crime when it happened. Crime being that they murdered him. Right on. But somebody else, they'll let go to jail and be like, oh, well, he'll get his day in court. Right. Because how would a judge feel if he had broke down like, look, I had waited for them to get up to leave the table. They didn't, so I had to do. I went inside, but you know what I'm saying. Had I been able to just shoot him and leave, I would have left. It's just like that. People is like, damn, how could you feel nothing for the dude's life? Because he had already killed somebody. I told y'all already. When you know the history already, You have to understand what side of something you're going to stand on. So does it look good because he killed another person that killed somebody? Nope. Does it look good that he killed three other individuals just to do that? Nope. But I can understand what drove him to do that. And I honor his actions before I honor the actions of a coward who doesn't have to do that and they choose to do that. Right. Right. People don't want to hear that kind of shit because they're scary and they're cowards. The question is this though. For the people who live in buildings where you got to have a little key card, right? Or you got to, you know what I'm saying? Have the key to get in. You live in a gated community or you just live somewhere exclusive. The question is this is when it goes to fuck down, who's going to save you? Do you have all the training and the know-how to save yourself? Do you have all the resources to save yourself? Can you save yourself? See what I'm saying? Because I don't live in la la land. Just because you don't go out here doing nothing to anybody doesn't mean that somebody won't do something to you. That's the truth. Nobody cares that you're just a milkman. Okay? Nobody cares. No one. No one cares that you just work at 7-Eleven. No one cares. No one cares that you're a Boeing executive. No one gives a fuck. No one. Not the next person, not the people that you work with, none of that shit. When you come to that conclusion and start telling yourself the truth, okay, at any moment, it could go down. From where? Right. Y'all living in La La Land. Y'all living in Fakeville. So it can happen in all these other places, but it can't happen with you. Because I mean, it's like when I think about shit like that, it just makes me giggle and laugh because I'm like, these niggas is crazy. They have to be crazy. That's the only logical explanation. Right. If you live in California, you better expect wildfires and earthquakes if you don't expect nothing else. Outside of it being expensive, you better expect that. See, and it's little things like that. People aren't expectant. You live on Earth. Just so happens that there's more guns in this country than any other country on the planet that I can think of for the population. Yo, it can go down the fuck anywhere. It doesn't need your permission. Earth, the individuals who inhabit Earth, who inhabit the Earth, and the people who are going to do the shit don't need your permission. Okay, to wild the fuck out. They don't. Now, this is truly my last little shot that I'm rolling. This has the feeling of I heard a lot of feelings on it. Right on this joint. Because I'm not like RIP all those poor black people. I told y'all the shit like this is coming. So why I'm the last nigga who's gonna do the RIP if I'm like the day of the wailing and gnashing of the teeth is on the horizon. How many black people at one time would it take for y'all to get your heads right, to get your acts together? 10 black people at one time. Everybody's still living their life. Would it take 100 black people at one time? No. 1,000? Maybe 1,000,000 of us going all at once, I think would change how we see things. No, nothing less than 500,000. All I'm talking about all in one day. I know it sounds terrible. It's it's going to be some stupid ass number of black people who are dead in one day, and all of us are going to know somebody. Most of us will know somebody who's been affected by that. If we're not personally affected, if we're not the dead, that's just being honest. That's just me telling the truth. Only in that day Either that or being enslaved. Being enslaved again would be tantamount to a whole bunch of us being killed because all of us are not going to allow ourselves to be enslaved. People like myself, I'm ready to go then. Fuck it. I'm already a servant. I'm sorry, I can't be downgraded any more than what I'm already. I'm already low enough on the top. Nope. The lower you are on the total pole, realistically, the wiser you are. That's the spot for the elders. So I'm already low to the dirt. Okay, I'm already in the dirt. I don't need to go to Middle Earth. All right, with my status, I'm trying to still have topsoil status. They're trying to give us Middle Earth status again. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Certain parts of me tell me that we actually enslaved a whole lot of these individuals before they ever enslaved us. Some part of me tells me that, and that I just can't prove all of it. And when I say us, I'm not talking about Israelite people or anybody like. I'm talking about the children of Seth, the sons and daughters of Noah. Yeah, them. Talking about those people. You know, Kim, Kim, Shem, Japheth, or Kim, or Ham, or Shem, Japheth, or Japheth, as people like to call them. Yeah, it's like that. And once again, if if a police officer can kill a brother in cold blood and motherfuckers call his bitch ass a hero, for a brother to go and lay a motherfucker down for not in cold blood, actually, is really is biblically the law of Moses. So the only thing I can say is that it's unfortunate that the other ones that got laid out were there. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like he went in there shooting up the place. He literally went in, isolated the targets and you know did what he had to do. I can't say anything about that. Right. This guy went into a supermarket full of soft targets, shot people in the parking lot, went into the building and shot people. Not like he went in there and just exchanged fire with the armed security and then left. Nope, that's not what he done. Not like he went to the hood and like extinguished 10 hood ass niggas who were like really out there who looked like they might have had guns or fun. I seen two or three of these guys had guns. This ought to be fun, right? No, it's not what he did. No, it's not what he did. He didn't go and even go into the store and be like, this dude killed my uncle 30 years ago and got away with it. No, that's not what he did. He didn't do nothing like that. There's nothing honorable about what he did. See what I'm saying? If they could, right, if they could make it make sense, I'm with that. I'm me. I'm me. Okay. I heard me say that before I knew anybody else to say that type of shit. I've been saying things I've been saying for years. Right on. Like I said, I'm your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. Take that to the bank. They'll never tell you that, but I am. They gonna check this video out and they gonna listen to the whole shit because they gonna think it's hot fire. And they gonna get their notes out and they gonna take some of it and they gonna put it out in their own little ways. That's what it is, y'all. I can't help it that I've been so consistent that they have to honor the fact that if I step away for whatever reason, for whatever period of time, they understand he's doing his thing. I really work. I really go do real work to get my money. So I don't always have the energy or the focus to dedicate myself to this. Other individuals don't have to do the kind of work that I'm doing, and they don't have a regiment like my personal regiment where they actually push themselves. You know, it's not the same. It's totally different. But one of these days, though, I'm gonna be able to really just from all of this, you know, I'll still be alive too, and I'm gonna be able to really just show the people. I just need one time to show the people what we have to do. I believe to get the Most High God, and I have to speak it to us. I've already spoke it, whether they realize it or not. I really do believe we have to. I believe that we have to take part in a true like Passover or something like that. You know what I mean? I think we have to really do something like that. I think we have to do that sort of activity. I think it's coming. I believe that in order to really get the Most High God to see that we're sincere, we're going to have to engage in some of these activities that we've been reading about, and it's going to have to be the right people doing the right things. You follow what I'm saying? Because it's going to be like one giant block party, y'all. That's what it would look like if I could do it the way that I want to do it. But the best way to do it would be like all over the whole, all over the U.S., all over the earth, at a coordinated time, on a coordinated day. The people that truly believe would commit to a certain type of sacrifice, and they would call on His name. They would cry out to Him, and they would ask Him to come and save us. The time that it would take to coordinate an event like that, I don't know. I'm not the Most High God. I don't understand the mind and the heart nearly enough to dictate that. But I do know that that's part of what needs to take place. And I only said that because I want y'all to know that there's things that I don't tell y'all ever. I can almost never say. When I call Maurice Clemens a hero, I don't mean going out there and killing people. I mean avenging the honor of his family. I mean actually standing up. And he did that he probably wasn't comfortable doing that. See, that's justice. Doing the right thing even when it makes you uncomfortable. Those police officers who shot Maurice Clemens in his head like that, they weren't uncomfortable when they did that. But when Maurice Clemens went into that building, he was for sure uncomfortable doing that. Right on. I, I don't want to have to kill anyone. I don't want anyone killing me, but I will take the measures to make sure that I will continue to live before I allow anyone to ever hit me with a weapon ever again or to do anything unscrupulous. Right on. I'm just that kind of a person. You're just better off not trusting them. You know what I mean? If that's how you feel, you're just better off. I don't want to become part of the vicious cycle, and I don't want to perpetuate the vicious cycle in ways that is not meant to be perpetuated. Brothers and sisters, I salute you. I salute you again. I salute you once more. And I say to you now that the blessing of blessings will come to us if we do the right thing. I really do believe that maybe not to the degree of the magnitude of people that need to be involved, but I do believe that a sincere act from the people must take place for him to realize that we are truly sick and tired of the way that we live. And we would desire that he would destroy of us those he would destroy, that the few and the remnant may live, that they live in a truly peaceful earth where the suffering and the death is no longer a part of it. And because we live in an earth where all minds and all hearts have been changed, I don't want to be on an earth where anyone who cannot see the greater things that could be are on the earth. I don't think that they have a place on the future earth that the Most High God is bringing. And I don't think that there's a place for them in the new heaven or the improved earth and the improved the the new and improved versions of them, better than the last houses, as it's written. These new houses that we will be in, that we will get to see. Blessed be the Most High God. That's what I have to say about that. Blessed be the Most High God. May you continue to live and survive. May you not be a victim of a coward. And may you not be a victim of your own cowardice. If you're going to die anyway, you had better die on your feet than on your knees. Because you can live on both. You can live on your knees and on your feet, but you can die on both as well. And a man can choose which one of those he will die on, if, or a woman for that matter, but a man most indefinitely can choose if he shall die on his feet fighting, or die in a position where he sought to beg for his life. May the Most High God be with all of us. May tomorrow be better than today, and may your next week be better than the last. The vicious cycle continues.